2, 1, and... Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 9th episode of the Central Texas Music Experience podcast, and our special guest today is Kirk Baxley. Go ahead and take it away for us.
This tune's called Constantly. It's a busty lamp on a dusty table, 2-day-old food in a week-old paper, and the channels don't turn in my hotel room. It's 3:30 a.m. All I can think about is you. I gotta leave at 6 and hit that road. I'll be headed out west just to make a show. I'll be wearing my shades and the same black clothes, thinking you. Do you think of me constantly? Girl, we got faith and the hope. Would you just say I love me and think of me constantly? When you're working them doubles, the rest were wrong. When you wipe a pretty brow just to cook and get time. Will you play our songs on that old jukebox? Thinking of me. Do you think of me constantly? Girl, we got the faith and the hope. Just say I love me and think of me. Do your eyes still shine like the very first time? When across that barroom floor they lit up when they met mine. Do your eyes still shine like the very first time? When across that barroom floor they lit up when they met mine. Do you think of me constantly? Girl, we got the faith and the hope. Would you just say I love me and think of me constantly? Just think of me constantly.
Thank you. I love that song. Let me go and switch over to my interface real quick. We are live. Had a little mishap on my audio side there for a second, but we got everything, I think.
Good.
Alrighty. Well, I just wanted to welcome everybody to the 9th episode of the Central Texas Music Experience, and we have Kirk Baxley here in the studio tonight, and I just really appreciate you coming out. So let me go ahead and plug a couple sponsors if you don't mind. This episode of the Central Texas Music Experience is sponsored by Horizon Design Photography. You can go to www.horizondesignphotos.com. They do weddings, portraits, and events, and go ahead and visit the website, and you can purchase digital files or prints of any pictures that are taken. We're also sponsored by Benez Leather Customs. You can check them out on www.facebook.com/Benez Customs. They specialize in custom handmade leather belts, holsters, slings, phone cases, etc. So go ahead and check them out on Facebook as well. And we have a new sponsor, ladies and gentlemen, Buster's Sports Bar, and they are actually officially going to be our new sponsor coming up pretty
entertainment attorney out of Nashville. I met her through somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody. After my touring in the rock days, things kind of fell apart for about a year there. I didn't even touch a guitar. I got called out to Nashville to do some co-writing. Then I picked up a management team based out of Dallas-Fort Worth, and then we liaisoned into Nashville pretty quickly, and then met Tamara Allen, my attorney there, and she's been incredible with spurring me on with new ideas, new ways to come across through her. Her brother is part of a big part of the Viacom team that does a lot of online stuff, a lot of video and whatnot. They were doing a series of Private Lilies in New York City, and they were going to get a more established artist, and she pushed me on him. He kind of blew it off. He found it, fell in love with what we were doing, I guess, and decided to bring in an act that was unheard of. And so we went out and played in front of some incredible songwriting teams, some producers, some people there at a prominent magazine company and whatnot, and turned into more of a showcase, I guess. They had a phenomenal team there as far as lighting, engineering, soundboard
Yeah,
stuff.
the quality of that video was incredible.
We were blown away to be a part of it and be the ones chosen to do it. So we went out there. The guys had barely started playing out with me. I mean, we were playing for 3 or 4 months maybe whenever we got called out there. And that kind of a level, you want to go out there and nail it. And I was super humbled to have those guys up there with me and to be a part of something like that so quickly. Doing this stuff, because this stuff's my heart. The rock stuff was awesome, but this is my heart, and it's a lot different whenever you're putting your heart at stake and hoping that people connect with it. You can take it way more personally if they don't.
So what was that transition like, going from well, first of all, what kind of got you into the music writing and playing?
Yeah.
What kind of inspired you?
Let's see. I was a music minister's son. He was a music minister like 36 or 38 years, I think. I grew up in the church and whatnot. My mom was a choral director and youth kids choir, the whole deal. And I was thrown in it pretty easily. On my mom's side, we had a lot of country players. It's still a lot of country players and people that played music professionally. So every holiday was just like a big hoedown or whatever you want to call it. It was fun. And I was a kid in the middle of all that, and I picked up the guitar when I was about 11. I'd only heard church music. I was pretty sheltered, but I'd only heard church music up until I was about 9 or 10, and my mom gave me Elvis Presley's Greatest Hits, and it consisted of 2 cassette tapes. It was his gospel hits. That's how she snuck it past my dad at the time. Gospel hits, and then his rock and country hits. And I never really moved past it. I thought it was the first drumming and lead guitar and electric guitar, the whole deal that I'd ever heard outside of, Baptist hymns, so it blew my mind. In like 1989, I'm thinking, wow, this is amazing. And I thought that was what was going on in pop culture at that time. And I never moved past it. I still prefer the older stuff, that kind of rock country mix. I'm just trying to put, a modern spin on it so it works for today,
Yeah, I noticed that you have a lot of different elements in your music,
Yes.
and it's like, for example, you have one song. I don't remember the exact name of the song, but you do the "I'll Fly Away" in there.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of elements where and I wouldn't say gospel elements.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's something that you really don't hear. So. I guess gospel would have been your first love of music. And
I had my first development deal when I was really young. It fell through, but it was with I was working with a company back in the day out of Nashville again, a Christian music label group. My first rock band was a Christian rock band that toured for a while there, had a couple records, and decided to move into mainstream market. I just I don't really like putting any kind of walls up for the listener. I like the people to accept it for what it is to them, because that's, things mean something to me, but I want it to mean something to you and be special, you know what I mean? I don't want to take that from anybody, I like to call a lot of my songs bitter spirituals. I mean, the big man has always had my back, and I have a faith, but I'm also very hard on my sleeve, in my praying and in my faith and in my spirituality. And if I'm mad at the time or bitter at the time, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to mess up. I'm going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And but I'm going to try. You know what I mean? Because I believe that there's something way bigger than us out there. You know what I'm saying?
And there's something in music that invokes that kind of that emotion. Like you said, music speaks to everybody in their own way. So it's whatever you take from, whatever you are thinking in your mind, whatever the message is, it speaks to you in that way. And that's something that a lot of art forms really can't grasp as well as music can.
I agree with you. I think that music is a universal language. I mean, a lot of people say that, but I really believe it. I think that it crosses language barriers, it crosses faith barriers, it's all over the map, and that's why it's therapy for me, and it's moving to me, and it pulls me to something deeper and closer, so that I'm not in a mental institution somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Well, apparently we're getting some messages that our videos are going black for whatever reason, and I'm not quite sure why that is. I'm picking up like I'm recording you, but hey, you know what? We're just gonna keep rolling with it. If it comes back on, it comes back on.
Cool.
If there's no video, I'm sorry, folks. Right now, it's just one of those things. But you can hear us. So if you have any questions on the Twitter feed or on the social network feed that we have, go ahead and feel free to type it in and ask, and I'll go ahead and ask Kirk whatever you guys want to ask. We are on a little bit of a time constraint right now. It's just one of those things. You got a busy man, so he's got things he's got to go do. So I'm really glad that you took the time out of your day to come and talk to us and
well, I'm excited to be here, man, and I think that you're doing a great thing. I think Central Texas has a lot of talent here locally, and I think that it's really cool. It's real special. A lot of good hearts, a lot of just talented people here, man. So I'm just thrilled to be a part of that, man. Yeah. It's awesome.
Well, you have a very unique voice as opposed to a lot of the other artists that are out here. And that's what I like about this whole scene. Mm-hmm. Scenes in major cities, for whatever reason, kind of stick to whatever has made that city successful or whatever has made that city, have that name for music.
Sure.
But here in Texas, or at least in Central Texas, from what I've gathered, just being around the scene, we have bands like 7 Years Today.
Yep.
With Mylan, his voice is very baritone, very powerful. That's very different, and your voice it shines. And it's like, okay, Justin Bravo is a good friend of mine. His voice is very different. Everybody is different.
Sure.
We all play a different style of music. I think I hear more originals from you than I would hear from somebody else.
Right.
That's not saying that there's just a difference in how people want to deliver music, man, and how they want to use their voice. And I've caught a couple shows at Dead Fish on July the 4th. Yes. And there was another one at Rattlesnake Inn, I believe, in Florence. We were there, and then we caught one at All Bottoms Up on last Saturday.
Yes, sir.
And every time every time I see you live, I'm just like, I'm blown away. And as a fan, my wife and I, we both own both of your EPs that are out there. We blast them in the truck when we're driving, and sometimes when I'm getting ready, for a podcast episode or whatever, I'll listen to the music, and your voice, and the way that you write songs, to me, is just like you said, like the bitter spiritual.
Yes.
I get what you're trying to convey in this song, and it's just like it speaks to me.
Well, that's humbling, because that's all you can ask for. After I call it chasing the dragon, going after the record deal and after that big thing. And I was in that game for 8.5 years before I realized, dude, I just want to write songs that move me. And if it moves 3 people, then amazing. I'll keep writing them. You know what I mean? As long as there's more people than me in the room, I'm good. So I'm good for a while, because I have a band that likes it, I guess, pretty well too.
Well, I just got a question, if you didn't mind, from Jay Ramos 325. He said a lot of bands have come and gone from the DFW scene. What kept you going?
What kept me going, Jay? That's a great question, man. I think really it's more of a call for me. I think more for me, they're going to put me in the ground doing this just because I don't know. I've been told a million times. I've been told no a million times. I think it's not a hope of making it. It's the hope that I see in people's eyes, like we were just talking about it. Me playing a tune, and that's not me being cheesy, Jay Ramos. It's me being real. Is hey, someone's eyes lit up in a section that are being moved, or hey, that couple's dancing. That dude came up to me crying, and hey, I'm on the Central Texas Music Experience show right now, and the host just told me that it moves him. It's stuff like that, Jay, that has kept me going, honestly. And I was a part of that whole scene. So, yeah, hey, and I love and miss all those guys and all those bands. And, that's kind of what's kept me going. It's therapy for sure for me.
Well, once again, I want to thank the viewers for adding their input into this. And I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a short episode of our podcast today. But, like I said, Kirk's a busy man. So let me ask a couple questions if you don't mind. When you were talking about that you got told no.
Yes.
What do you think it was a tribute to the being told no? What do you think that was about?
Honestly, and a lot of bands can take this for what it's worth, but in my experience, it has a lot to do with who you have on your team. It has a lot to do with who you know, unfortunately. There are millions of artists that would smoke me on their worst day that have been told no a million times, I'm sure. And it's just because being in the right time at the right place, I feel like that you definitely want a label group or a management and a whole team around you that believes in you more than you do. And honestly, I love that I've been told no, and I'm going to tell you why. I don't feel like those people believed in me more than me so far. I had band members that did, and management teams absolutely that believed in me way more than I ever could believe in myself, But it's very important that you get in with a label group and a team that spurs you on and just trusts in what you're bringing to the table.
So, in other words, that's probably the best advice you can give to anybody that's trying to get into it.
I just think
just surround yourself with people that
it's family first, God, and then family, in my opinion. But if you're out there and you're doing your thing, I think it's family first, and you want people surrounding you, tight knit group that you can trust with anything. And thank God, in the past year and a half here, I've just been so fortunate to have come across people that believe in me more than me and that pick me up when I'm down, because I'm moody, I'm insecure, and I'm an emotional wreck, And, it's amazing to have people, bandmates, lawyer, book people, other bands, Central Texas group here that we just talked about, people like that lift you up and keep you going. Jay Ramos and DFW throwing a comment on there. I don't even expect that. It's amazing to me. Just keeping a close, tight-knit group, though, in all honesty, that believes in you more than you do, and running with it, And, really, there's nothing holding you back from doing your own thing. That's another thing I've learned is I'm doing this myself. It's, me, myself, and I, and two other people that are on board, and we're creating this package and this thing, and it's like, if you really believe in it, put your money where your mouth is and just run with it, and just don't rely on other people. It's sad to say, but as far as industry goes, hey man, be a business person, put your big boy britches on and go for it. And I relied on everybody else before, and that was my bad, and I learned it the hard way. But any aspiring artist, man, you just do your thing and set a trend, make a wave, and go.
Yeah.
But what do I know?
Well, be who you are. You can't really do anything else.
That's it, man. Just roll with it, dude.
I just got a question from McFly 6904. Out of the Central Texas bands, who has been one of your favorite to share the stage with, past or present?
Oh man, past or present. Okay, past. Let's see. Well, they were touring through here a lot back in the past. Vallejo was always one of my favorites. They're an Austin, Texas band. I probably played 100 or plus shows. I was at one point called Kirk Vallejo. That was hilarious. But I love those guys. That is a true testament of sticking to your guns and beating the system. Surpassing a label deal and doing it their way, and still trucking and still doing 200 to 300 shows a year. They're a living, breathing machine. Vallejo is. I love them as people. I think they're a great band, and yeah, man, I love them. They've been big brothers to me this whole time. Let's see. I'm trying to think who else. Central Texas, I really like Josh Merrill. I think that he has a lot of soul. I like his beard, and he's completely full of it, and he's fun to be on stage with.
Yeah.
He's a lot of fun. Yeah, man, those guys. I like all of them, but those are two that stuck out right now in my ADD mind.
I just got a question from John Chappelle.
Tell me about it.
He's like, who is your favorite harmonica player?
It would not be John Popper. It might have to be John Chappelle or Steven Tyler. He can blow some heart for sure.
I think he's
Sorry,
trying to be.
Chappelle.
He's just trying to be funny over there. Apparently, our feed is good. There was just some buffering issues.
Okay,
so
cool.
So thank you, John, for letting me know that we're good to go.
Sweet.
Just to let everybody know that this video will be available on YouTube.
Awesome.
You'll be able to check this out on iTunes as well, the audio side of the podcast. So I mean, if you didn't get a chance to tune in or share this with your friends or whatever, and the video will be available. So we got about 10 minutes. So
That's
we
fine.
have a couple. I mean, we can talk some more.
Yeah, we can go, man. I mean,
we
as long as questions rolling in, I say let's just keep.
just keep going.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
Fine.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Alrighty. See, now that's what I love about Kirk. He's like, let's go with it. Okay, I do have one question. It's what is your songwriting process?
Songwriting process. Man, it'll hit me like a ton of bricks. Some of my favorite songs have come together in 2 or 3 minutes, and it's just those. They just kind of flow out. I might have a riff that I've messed around with for months and months, and I get these great lyrics, and they might get married eventually one day. But the majority of my new material just kind of falls on me. I do not force anything. Now, I am about 4 to 10 songs ahead of the band at all times, and for a long time there I was doing 2 songs a week. That was my goal, and I just kept churning them out. I mean, everyone tells you keep writing, but it's the truth. And I feel like that the EPs came out as good as they could have with what we had to work with as far as songwriting wise, because we had a big batch to pick from.
Right.
I was telling you earlier before we got live here, we're doing 2 more EPs. One's going to be a super stripped down, still guitar, B3, and some piano, and that's pretty much it. We're going to do 6 tunes like that, and then we're going to go to Nashville, and we're going to do a 5 or 6 song, full-out, big production EP. So we're going to do those 2 within the next 6 to 8 months here again. I'm a big fan of bringing back that old-school ideal of, hey, let's release as many records as we can in a year instead of 1 record a year,
Right.
2 records every 4 years or whatever. I just feel like just getting it out there, man, and letting people have it here. Take it, check it out. Please go to kirkbaxley.com.
Yeah,
Shameless
definitely.
plug here.
Yeah, well, hey, you know what? That's what this is for. I forgot to plug it myself,
that's
so
good,
let me
man.
go ahead. If you guys tuned in earlier, we were talking about these videos that Kirk had done with his band in New York City. They just posted them, I believe, yesterday. At kirkbaxley.com, so check that out. You can also check them out on facebook.com, and you can check them out on Reverb Nation. I'll plug a couple dates here right after. I got a couple comments and stuff like that, so they're just pouring in right now.
Great.
So we're just going to keep going. We have
the camera right there. Thank you, guys.
So I have from Music Fan 41 saying that they don't have a question, but they would like to say that you're an inspiration to them.
Wow.
So. We have another.
Don't make me get choked up, Music 41.
We have one from somebody who's in the next room who's tuning in. That's so funny.
Nice.
So it's like, how hard is it as an artist to sit down and play a song that meant a great deal to you in the past?
Very hard. It's hard in 2 ways. I mean, it just the entertainer side. There's 2 different sides to, in my opinion. You have artists out there that are entertainers, people that don't write their material, they just look real good getting up there and doing it. And then you have the artist that writes it. I tried to turn my entertainer side on. I've had to do funerals, and those have been the hardest ever, and do original songs at funerals that meant something to the person that had passed on.
Right.
That was rough. You have to cut off almost your emotional side to get through the song, to do it appropriately for the family, do it the best you can for the family. And I had a person come up to me after the service and it's like, well, I thought it was kind of disrespectful. You didn't show any emotion. And when I took my shades off, I'm like welling up and losing my head. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I told him, I said, hey, I want to do the best I could for the family. I said, that's a dear friend of mine, and they deserve that.
Yeah.
I think that as an artist side person in the